So you've learned about public as well as private. Now let me teach you about the default access modifier. The default access modifier can only be when a class, attribute, method, or constructor has the default access modifier. It means that it's only accessible by anything within the same package. So in here, let's just open up main for a second. So this class in here, and before we had private, and also in here we had private. Now what I want to do is I want to change this private to nothing. So neither public nor private, it means that is the default. So this means that the only thing that can access foo is anything within the same package as well as the class itself. So if I go back to foo now, have a look. This error now went away. Why is that? Well, have a look. This class called foo belongs to com.amigos code. Let's have a look at main. So this also belongs to com.amigos code. So if they belong to the same package, then you can access anything that shares the exact same package. So the same here. So we had private static void main. If I go back to foo class, if I try to access that main method, so I'm going to say in here, main dot, have a look. We can only access foo. But if I go back to, or actually let me just say main, for example, and what I want you to see is, have a look. Oh, actually, I need to invoke this just like this. Have a look. The error says main has private access. So if I go back to main, it has a private access. If I remove this, now let me just go back to foo. I can access this method. It no longer gives me an error. So that is the meaning of the default access modifier. So now within Apple, we also have main.foo. Now this is an error, right? So main.foo, which is this. So that's the class called main.foo. So the reason why this does not work is because, have a look, the package that this class lives, so Apple, is com.amigoscode.foo. The package that this attribute called foo lives in is com.amigoscode. So they live in two different packages. Therefore, the only thing that can have access to foo is anything within the same package, which is this class right here, right? So foo has com.amigoscode. If I go back to main, com.amigoscode, and we can access this. Apple has com.amigoscode.foo. So this is the package name, which is completely different. If you want to access this foo, the only way to access is either for you to move Apple within the same package as com.amigoscode, or change the access modifier to public. So here, if I go back to main, if I change this to public, have a look. Now the error goes away. Or, so let me just go back and change this to default. Go back to Apple, and I can take this Apple class and then put it inside of com.amigos code. So I'm just going to drag it out. So if I refactor, now have a look, it works. So Apple now can access foo because they now live within the same package. And you can see that this import statement is no longer required. And in this case, I can just get rid of it just like that. And there we go. This is pretty much everything that I wanted to cover for the default access modifier. If you have any questions, drop me a message. Otherwise, let's move on.